Whoa! Hey guys, it's Tombox here, welcome to MST.TV. So for this video, I'm actually bringing back an old segment of card listing, but I'm listing out some of the stuff that you guys should be aware of so you don't lose. So what's happening right now in June? June, right now we're in the high competitive season. We have nationals happening all over Europe. We have ourselves a YCS, a recent YCS, and we're having WCQ happening very soon in Fort Worth, Texas. And I'll see you guys there, of course. I'll be there, so hey guys. Aside from that, we know that the meta has shifted since the release of the Dark Saviors. We have the Sky Strikers now. Sky Strikers being splashed to everything. Whether or not it synergizes with the deck, it still offers a huge level of advantage that I guess it just works out in the end anyway. So Gokis, we have Trickstars, Altergeist. We have Spirals, still a thing thanks to the Nightmare stuff and with Flames of Destruction. Everything kind of just merged into this whatever really highly competitive format we have right now. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about 10 meta tags that you need to know in June of 2018 so you don't look like a scrub. Okay, you don't want to lose to these by surprise, and you shouldn't be surprised by these anymore. But these are some of the decks that you can run using the engine or using against various decks. I'll talk about each one, and I've kind of sorted it into, I guess, how aware you should be, from the most aware to the least aware. Now, I just want to give a huge shout out to my Patreons out there for helping me get the Kabadab and helping me actually get to Nats. Really appreciate all of you guys out there. And if you guys want to help support this channel, help support me into making more awesome videos, you can check out the Patreon link down below. There are always perks in there. The fairy tale stuff is also in there. That proxies, it's there. So anyways, regardless, let's get into this video. So number one, the main four. What the hell's the main four? I'm talking about 4 cards at once because these are 4 cards that everyone should be running or be expecting at this point, especially at a competitive level. It's Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring, we have Drone Lockbird, Evenly Matched, and Infinite Impermanence. These are not new techs, but this is like the foundation of most people's decks in terms of counterplaying you. So Ash Blossom, Drone Lock, Evenly Matched, and Impermanence. Why these cards in particular? It's because we have no ways of punishing special summoning. That's why. And so then the only option to prevent people from spamming special summons is to hit the deck synergy directly. And if we hit the deck synergy directly, there's always Ash Blossom, which is always a good choice. Hit the priority targets like Double Helix, Alpha Spirals, Candinas. Don't hit the stuff that can basically activate again, because there's lots of cards that can do that, and those are basically the baits against you. If you have Ash Blossom and you hit the bad card, well, it just shows that you're not a very good player. That's what it does. Drone Lockbird, what should you do? You should hit things as soon as possible. You basically hit all decks at this point. You hit Trickstars, you hit Dracos, you hit, I don't know, you name it. It just hits every single deck. Gokis that can't get their rematch if you go Rhoda first. They end up with a really weak board, and it essentially becomes a turn skip where you can handle the board much easier. Again, they aren't able to establish their combo. Evenly Matched is, on the other hand, kind of the one where you let them set up and then you punish them for it and then they die. Everyone should have this in their side because, let's be honest, this is one of the most free board breaking cards available. Dealing with one card is usually pretty easy, unless of course it's an Ultimate Falcon. Yeah, on that note, yeah, that would kind of suck, but that means you hit into Awakening the Dragon anyway, so it's kind of your fault to lose to begin with. And finally, Impermanence is just more like a Veiler. You just want to stop them from getting their effects to go through, because it's usually the monster effect that leads to additional comboing, and being able to use it during going first or second, that is absolutely beneficial. It's like way better than Breakthrough Skill. It's like a Veiler, and both Veiler and Impermanence have their merits, but Impermanence being protected as a trap, because as a trap you can't get called by the grave, so that's why there's popularity there. But those are the main 4 that you should be expecting everyone to play, and now we can actually move on to the actual list. So then we're going to go on to number 2. Number 2, Shared Ride. We haven't seen Shared Ride in a very long time, and last time we saw it was during the Necros format. When Necros was tier 0, it was an amazing card because the deck searched so much, and you can basically treat it as an equivalent to Max C. And because now we don't have Max C, but we have a lot more decks that search. Trickstars, they have Terraforming, Candina, and the Light Stage. For Gokis, every single monster that gets sent to the graveyard, including Rhoda as well. And for Spirals, I think we know how Spirals work. They have a ton of searching, from Quick Fix, from the Master Plan, even the Resort, Terraforming. They have a ton of searches as well, so this card can be used very much like a Max C. The one problem with this is that you cannot use this card going second. Once your opponent kind of establishes the setup, it no longer works the same because they're not going to search as much anymore and you're not going to benefit off of this card. So this is definitely one of those cards that you want to use if you can go first. And it acts as a turn skip. To be honest, it's very difficult to actually play around this card unless you already have Ash Blossom Joyspring in hand to actually negate it. But Shared Ride, definitely yes, give this one a try. It is one thing that everyone should be aware of right now. Oh, one quick reminder regarding Shared Ride, it also draws a card if your opponent adds a card from the graveyard. This is important because Kagari adds from the graveyard. Number 3, Phantom Sky Blaster. Everyone should be aware of this card by now. It is an alternative to Scapegoat, especially if you play the Sky Striker engine. Normally this card spikes up in price at the end of every format or at the introduction of every format. Like, oh my god, the extra level 4 monsters, that's really awesome. Yeah, but now we're only caring about the token summoning effect. If you have this card plus a Sky Striker token generator, you have 6 monsters with the access of only 2 cards, and it is on your own turn, so you can have a lot of aggression that you can actually push out. It is like an alternative to Scapegoat, and that's how people are using it right now, and it is very scary, especially when it comes to the Sky Striker deck. They can hold on to this card until they really need it, and bam, 6 monsters on the field. They'll have the Kagari on field, Sky Striker, and 4 tokens to work with, and that's also immediate access to Saryuja. And with all these tokens, guess what? You can immediately go into the Nightmare plays and just establish a big Nightmare board and go for a massive push. That's what this card is for. So if you guys don't know why people are playing Sky Striker, or sorry, Sky Blaster, Phantom Sky Blaster, I guess they kind of work together. Yeah, that's something now you know, and you can also use against other people. Number 4, we have Ghost Belle and Haunted Mansion. I mentioned that this card was going to be a sleeper card and it's finally awoken. Why has it awoken? When it comes to thinking about what this card can do, a lot of people just jump to the conclusion where she can't do very much. But let me explain to you why she's really good, and she's already proven her competitive worth thanks to this. Well, first of all, against the Spirals, you can use this to hit double Helix. Once Helix activates, you can toss this, and they won't be able to summon from the deck or their graveyard. There is a text clause in there that says you can summon from the graveyard. Because it is included in the text clause, you can actually negate it exactly like an Ash negating it, except for the fact that you're negating the activation. So there's the slight difference there. The second thing is you can use it to hit Trick Stars in 2 ways. You can stop them from Lily Belle killing you, which is the Firewall OTK, and you can also stop them from reviving stuff with Candina. Well, for the effect of stopping Lily Belle from killing you, why? Because Lily Belle's effect to add a card back from the graveyard, it can be stopped by Ghost Belle, because Ghost Belle's card text states negate the activation, and because it states negate activation, you can use it in the damage step. Yeah, that's something to be aware of. A lot of people thought that it was like, oh, just negate the effect. No, this is not the case. She actually negates activation, so there's a huge difference there. Unless, of course, the card text is wrong. So in other words, there's lots of practical things you can do, and you can stop Goki Rematch from going off. So that's just a lot of fun things you can do with this card. Stopping Monster Reborn, stopping a lot of moving here and there. Yeah, overall, it's just a not too bad of a card in general. Number 5, Effect Failure. I've actually seen more and more people actually put this card in because they don't have impermanence, but in terms of utility, I don't need to compare it negates a monster effect. It's mainly because of the timing of which Effect Failure can negate stuff. Impermanence, you can only use it from hand when you control no cards in your hand, but what if you already have an established board but you need some form of a negation? And the problem is, against a Trickstar deck, the potential of getting your card stunned by the light stage is very high, and if your impermanence gets stunned by light stage, you can imagine that your opponent's Candina is going to go through. But if you have Veiler, it forces them to have a Lycris to tag out, and if they don't have the tag out, then their Candina is basically a sitting duck. And because of that, people have used Veiler again and over impermanence, because impermanence isn't exactly a very good card against Trick Stars, especially when it can get stunned out. But yeah, that's why Veilers are back. Number 6, Hey Trunade. That's right, this Trunade card finally is seeing play now. I've seen people side deck this card. It is actually quite devastating, mainly because people using multi-roll. So this is more of a hate card against people using multi-roll, because if multi-roll retrieves a card from the graveyard and resets it onto the field, it gets banished when it leaves the field. So one thing that all Sky Striker players hate is that they don't like being forced into activation. And if they're forced into activation, it does not work out well for them. Let's be honest here. It really sucks when they have to activate. Like, what do they want to activate? They have their Hornet Drones. Do they want to activate Hornet Drones? It stuns the rest of their back row. Not really. Widow Anchor. If there's no good targets for Widow Anchor, it's not worth activating. And if it steals the monster, it's like, ugh. Shark Cannon's okay. Shark Cannon, you can kind of jump the shark on that one. But overall, not a lot of cards that you actually want to activate. If it's like Impermanence, you can't really do anything about it if there's no monsters in the field. So if a lot of cards came back from multi-roll, if you're going second, this is actually not too bad of a choice, especially in this matchup. You can play one Hey Trunade, and your board is free. You have nothing really to worry about anymore except for hand traps, and if you can deal with the hand traps, there you go. Board is broken. And another fun tech that you can do if you're playing as Trickstar, if you have Lycurus on board and you're into time, you play one Hey Trunade and bounce back their stuff, burn them for game. I don't know. Another silly little thing that you guys can try out. Number 7, Curse of Darkness. I was a bit surprised to actually see this card used against me, but it hurt a lot. Very much similar to the concept of a Trickstar player burning you with Lycurus and Candina both on the field. Very similar in terms of damage, because every card burns you for 1,000, and if you're playing Sky Striker, it's going to hurt so much. To clear this card, you will have to at least burn 3,000 life points if you don't have access to an MST, Twin Twister, or a Cosmic Cyclone. It's gonna hurt you a lot if you don't have it. It's gonna cost you 2,000 just to get to the Phoenix. And once you go into the Phoenix, it's actually pretty awful. You have to go into Hornet Drones into the Kagari, into another Hornet Drones, and then now you get the Phoenix. I have to toss a card, and you're not even co-linked. You're losing cards, burning 2k, and you're leaving with a really weak board. But what if you don't care about it? What if you ignore it while you're burning a life? Play Engage, that's 1,000. You go into your Hornet Drones, that's 2,000. And you add a card back, add the Engage back, 3,000. What are you really doing at this point? And you haven't really even fulfilled your graveyard condition here. And if you want to keep going, if you activate a multi-roll before that, you have 4,000 worth of burn already. And at this point, even if your multi-roll resets everything, you're going to die before you get there. But what if you want to destroy the card ahead of time? Well, the only way you can destroy it is to use an afterburner. If you don't use an afterburner, you can't destroy it, because Jamming Wave only hits set cards, and your only other main decked out would be that Nightmare Phoenix. Number 8, Misleading Accusation. This is an interesting card because of the flexibility of how you can actually change up a game entirely or completely blow out certain matchups, especially against Spirals. If you're not using Spirals and you're playing against Spirals, this is one of the more ideal cards you can try to use against them. Whether or not they have a full setup or not, it's okay, because it will just work in your favor regardless. So if your opponent controls more cards than you do, you can target one face-up card on the field. Neither player can now activate cards with that name or its effects for the rest of the duel except that target. So that target remains safe. Everything else, on the other hand, that shares this name is screwed over. So Spirals, if you just get hit by your super agent, it doesn't even need to be the original name, because of the fact that your Tough, your Helix, your everything, they share that name. Your agents are completely turned off, so everything hits it and everything gets screwed over and turned off. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Another thing that's actually also pretty brutal is you can use this against Trick Stars. You can use it against Sky Strikers. Sky Strikers, you can turn off their Engage permanently, because they activate it, you chain it, you're all same thing. You know, the deal is still good. Against Trick Stars, you can hit the Reincarnation. You lose your first hand, it's okay, but they can't revive stuff out of the graveyard anymore because it has that name. And they can't activate the other set Reincarnation that was planning to loop your hand out either. So in other words, this card is actually not too bad, and it's quite a budget option for those of you who are kind of playing more on the budget side. Number 9, Mind Crush. Now, Mind Crush is, I think, one of the more useful cards in the side deck right now because of the amount of knowledge we gain from your opponent searching. You can probably rip out their combo piece, and if you're lucky enough, you'll rip out multiple copies because they just happen to have multiple monsters. It only really works against monsters because if you try to hit spells like a terraforming target, like they activate terraforming, add light stage, you activate Mind Crush, crush out the light stage, they activate new terraforming. Most pros will tend to not keep the same names in hand, or they'll set most of their cards before they actually go in, mainly due to the fear of Trickstar Reincarnation ripping their hand apart and getting themselves hand looped. Most players are setting most of their cards beforehand anyway, so there's that. But Mind Crush can hit a lot of priority stuff, like you can take out the Goki rematches, you can take out the Trickstar Candina that's searched from the light stage, or maybe even ripping your own hand apart if you really just want to get rid of certain cards. But of course, lots of Trickstar engaged targets as well. Overall, Mind Crush is just a very versatile card for a 1-for-1ing, or perhaps, if you're lucky, a 2-for-1. But if you also fear hand traps a lot, you can preemptively call off the hand trap that you fear the most and get rid of the extra card that you might not need, so that your main combo can actually go through very safely. Number 10, Firecracker. Why is this guy even here? And what does he tech with? He techs with time. That's what he techs with. He's able to burn your opponent for 1,000 life points in time. That's all he does. He has a quick effect of being discarded from your hand to burn for 1,000. He's a short print from Maximum Crisis. So yeah, go ahead and look in your junk for this guy. I was like, oh wow, this guy's such a joke, skipping me draw phase. Yeah, when you don't have a draw phase, he seems to be pretty damn good right now. Yeah, so if you notice that you're 30 minutes into a game and you need to kill your opponent with time, then there's Firecracker. I don't recommend you guys using this card because your side deck space is much better than that. If you do, you win with this card. You are very, I don't want to say it on camera. You're a scumbag. Okay, anyways. I guess that's all I got for this list. I'm sure you guys have your own variations of text. If you have other texts that I didn't really talk about, leave it down in the comment section below. I want to know what you guys think are really good, and I want you guys to, well, educate everyone else, including myself. So huge thumbs up to you guys. If you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff at MST.TV, hit that subscribe button. If you want to invest in my ability to make you videos like this one, well, hit the Patreon subscribe button, and you know, anything helps, really. Honestly, anything helps. And as always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.